Welcome, Chosen One.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ace of Plays channel, and to another post-commentary video. I had a little gaming session trying out Francesca Dwarfs, and I had a great time and wanted to compile a few of the clips for you in a video today. Now, this is one of the more unique versions of this list that I have seen. I really enjoyed it. It's very consistent. Of course, this deck revolves pretty much completely around Novigradian Justice and getting to play it twice. And of course, if you don't draw that card, you're kind of in a rough spot. Now, of course, a lot of people, they tech in, additional special cards so you have a backup, and this deck does that as well. But this deck actually plays Land of a Thousand Fables to be able to draw Novigradian Justice. Now, it's a very expensive tutor, but for the most part, I did not have any issues with, having such an expensive tutor in the deck. I went 5-1. I actually managed to rank up to rank 4 with this deck. And what you're seeing right now is my first game with the deck. I will also be showing you one in the middle and one, the one that I played the very last, so you can see me actually rank up. Although I think the video cuts like right before that actually happens, so that's my bad. But yeah, we're against Crack and Crate for this first game. As far as I know, not a particularly bad matchup. By the way, of course, deck list is down below. This probably isn't the most optimal version of the deck, but I'm going to be experimenting a little bit with it. Actually, I'll be probably playing a little bit with this deck on today's stream, which, if I get this video out on time, will happen after this video comes out. So if you want to see a little bit of that experimentation, you want to see more of this deck, then of course do check out that stream. If you can't catch it live, then there's always the VOD afterwards. We'll be uploaded to YouTube. Yeah, that probably does it for the talking about that stuff. So our opponent is really tempoing out, even playing Dandelion Poet, which is not a card you see often. Like I said, this was my first game with the deck, and I probably messed up pretty big time playing Gabor this early. Honestly, you really shouldn't play him until preferably round 2, often to counter a dry pass, just to get that free resilience. You could also potentially do it in round 1 after the opponent is passed, if it helps you catch up. Just basically, you want to play him on an uncontested board. That's probably the most important part. So that was definitely my bad. I mean, you can't really foresee your opponents playing Alcer's Thunder, but removal tools are everywhere, so all in all, that was a bad play by me. Him locking Polly Dahlberg is not that big of a deal. Polly Dahlberg is often very expendable, in my opinion. He's good. He's a dwarf, which of course does a lot for this deck. He's very resilient, so it does take a lot to shut him down. And he's an 8 for 8, or he's a 6 for 8 that gives a shield. And we do have some engines in the deck that are sometimes you want to shield them, sometimes you want to boost them. So he is good for that, but often he's just an expendable, decent point play that you just you play down whenever you can. So as you can see, there's a Pyrotechnician in this deck that's just because of the expensive top end. We don't even run Great Oak, which is a card I really want to try in this deck, but we do have a pretty expensive list, so we needed that one extra 4 provision card, and there's only one other 4 provision dwarf, and that's Pyrotech. It's not really super good, it's mulligan fodder for the most part, but if you do get it, if you have Land of a Thousand Fables, it's a 5 for 4, which is not bad, and it's 2 damage targeted, so, and it's a dwarf, so I have found myself playing it at least a couple of times during this gaming session here, and it was perfectly fine. But here we're going into round 3, and you're gonna see. Again, this was my first game, so I'm not it takes me a little while to think that, of course, I gotta play Justice first, but we do end up doing that. We're gonna go for the ultimate double Justice. And the Dwarven Mercenary is the main target because it's an engine, damage dealing engine. And having 4 of those on the board basically gives us 4 damage every time we play a Dwarf. Targeted pings, which is really strong. Against Nilfgaard, who have Ox, which can lock the entire board, in a situation like this, you should probably split it up. Your Novigradian Justice, maybe do 1 on Mercenary and then 1 on Cleaver's Muscle, or even Markham Defender if you have a way to boost them. But as you can see here, like, we just slaughtered this all off. It didn't stand a chance. And yeah, that's the power of this deck. Like, 4 engines on the board in 1 turn. Damage dealing engines. It's really strong, and our opponent concedes. And if you were wondering, oh my god, why did he just say he was going to show us 3 games? This is why. I just wanted to include that game because we just butchered an Olaf. But yeah, this game is against Usurper. I played 2 games against Usurper. I won 1 and I lost 1. So you'll have to see which one this is. Usurper, of course, is like it's a very obvious bad matchup for us, because this deck revolves heavily around being able to play Novigradian Justice twice. He denies us that just straight up. And Francesca is a low provision leader. Like Usurper against like a 17 provision leader, like, you have so much power against him. Francesca has 3 provisions over him, and in a gimmicky deck like this, where like you aren't playing just the optimal Scoia'tael cards, you're playing Dwarfs, which synergize together. But like, again, without Novigradian Justice being played twice, it's actually it's not the best deck. It's a lot of fun, but even the fun aspect without double justice, it's not double the fun. So yeah, this is a bad matchup, and a very draw dependent one, I'd say. Simply because of how few provisions more than him we have. Like, it's all about drawing those provisions, and like I said, this deck is gimmicky. It's Dwarf Tribal. You play it for fun, not for optimal top meta shenanigans. So it's definitely a very unfavorable matchup. So I'm actually, like, I have 50% win rate against Usurper with this, and I'm actually pretty impressed. Like, it could have easily been 0 because of how bad this matchup is. And also, of course, Nilfgaard in general, they have a lot of control tools, like muzzles and swears. Just so happens that our Dwarven Mercenaries are 3 strength engines that he can steal with the spheres. So, yeah. Yeah, and locks a decent amount of damage. The Witchers, Ceradox, and Letho, which are going to make an appearance in this match. Definitely turn this matchup into not the easiest. But we take out the Infiltrator. This is some sort of deck manipulation. It's a very popular Nilfgaard archetype at the time. At the time of playing this, but also probably still now of recording this. This was last week. Now it's Monday. It's a beautiful Monday. How are you doing, guys? Hope you're having a nice Monday. I was going to say a nice week, but it's literally too early to tell. But hopefully it's been going well so far. But yeah, so deck manipulation, very popular Nilfgaard archetype with several leaders. And, of course, it revolves around the new dual faction card. I have no idea what it's called. It's like Doadric or something like that. The guy who, you draw a card and then you put a card on the bottom of your deck. Really strong card. Especially in Usurper, because of all the low provision cards you have to include to make up for his, low provision amount. So, basically, I'm very lucky to have Cleaver in my hand, or, Carl of Arese, as he's now called. Because that basically ensures that if he plays it early in the round, which they kind of want to do, then I have that to deal with it. So yeah, we're doing a good bit of row buffing. Dennis Cranmer can also be really good if you're using Novigradian Justice on Markham Defenders. This deck doesn't have a lot of ways to get them boosted, but especially if you use Justice off of Francesca, you can put them on the melee row, and then you can just use Dennis Cranmer, between them, to get, boost adjacent allies by 2. So they get boosted up, and then they boost themselves again, so they're boosted by 3, which is fairly hard to deal with. They're up to like 7 power. You could also play them on the range row and do like boost the whole row, but of course you want to do this early to get the engines going. But that ability, his ranged ability, is of course better later in the round. We do a lot of row stacking, which is why I really want to try Great Oak. A lot of lists do that, but I pretty much have to take out 1,000 Fables, take out Call of the Forest, which is also a card that is not a lot of people include it in their dwarf lists, but I actually really like it. We have a lot of low power dwarfs. And of course, Call of the Forest, if you pick up Sheldon Skaggs, he gets boosted by 3, so he deals a good bit of damage. But yeah, the opponent starts off with a dead Milton, like just straight up. That's a really weird play. And I'm considering Gabor, but I'm thinking probably gonna go for Justice first to gain two charges off of Gabor. There's definitely an argument that I should have gone for Cleaver's Muscle just to not be so susceptible to logs. And Swears, which there he is. Yeah. So it would have definitely been better to go for that. But now I'm going to play that Gabor as an immune engine, which does boost quite a lot in this deck because almost every single card we have is a dwarf. So Gabor is a really good engine here. In a lot of decks, he's just there for the carryover value, and he still works very well as that in this deck. But of course, if you have to put him down in round 3, he definitely gets his provision cost value. He's just an immune engine, and he's just a dwarf that they can't get rid of most of the time. So, yay, a good dwarf that doesn't leave. The best dwarves never leave. But yeah, I'm not expecting to get a bigger target than 5. Of course, I was mistaken. But so I choose to buff the Markham Defender just to get it going. I should have used Sheldon Skaggs that turn, or the last turn, to kill a slave infantry. I could have denied him 2 points off that reamed. I didn't really think that far at the time of playing this game, but I have run into this problem multiple times now, where slave infantry and then reamed is a pretty decent point play. But of course, as you can see, despite having card advantage, despite getting a long round, we're falling behind. Our opponent drew some really high value cards. We have a couple of 4 provision dwarfs that don't do much in round 3. So even if I had killed slave infantry earlier and denied him 2 points, would have been enough because we lose by 3. So yeah, this was the game that I lost against Usurper. I know a lot of people enjoy it when I post games where I also lose a little bit of the time. And I definitely think that is definitely very valuable. I say definitely a lot in this video, which I don't know why. It's definitely weird. But yeah, I totally get that. Getting to see a deck's weaknesses, getting to see ways that you can misplay the deck so you know what to avoid, is really valuable. So that's why I decided to choose the Usurper game where I lost. And it was a pretty close loss. We did win on even in round 1, which does, tell you something about the power of this deck. A lot of versions run Doppler for some round 1 tempo. I really want to try that because, round 3, of course, we have double Novigradian Justice. That's the tempo. That's what we need. That's all. But in round 1, like often you're playing some low value dwarves, and you know you can't invest. You don't want to invest Sheldon Skags. You don't want to invest Novigradian Justice. So just a Doppler or two, they could easily reach like 7-8 value. It would just be good tempo. It would really help this deck in round 1. My particular list is very tight on provisions. That's the problem. Like I have modified it to put in Dopplers and Great Oak, but you know I've taken out everything that makes this version unique. Like Call of the Forest, Land of a Thousand Fables. Like those both had to go to fit in those other cards. And those other cards might be more, you know, consistently powerful. Like a couple of Dopplers and Great Oak Finisher. That's super strong. Like that's really strong. But I really enjoyed the consistency that both Call of the Forest and Land of a Thousand Fables provided. Like there was not a single game where I didn't draw Novigradian Justice. Like I said, I played 6 games. I went 5-1, and never did I not draw it. So yeah, and you know, Novigradian Justice is so important. Like, if you don't draw it, like even if you have something else to play off your leader, like you really want to play that Justice. That Justice is what makes this whole deck. Like Justice and Cleaver's Muscle is of course the new additions to the Dwarf archetype in Scoia'tael, and those are the cards that make this work. And let me tell you a little secret, Cleaver's Muscle alone doesn't make this work. That's just a nice card to play with Novigradian Justice. You know what I'm saying? We need that Justice. And you know, in a Gwent deck, there are always provisions that you don't play anyway. So paying 11 to tutor out basically your whole round 3, like your win con, is probably valuable. Like I said, 5-1 in rank 5. I went up to rank 4. Today on stream we're going to try this deck in rank 4. I don't know if we're going to try modified versions. We probably are, especially if people tell me, this version sucks. I want to play something different. I'm susceptible to suggestions, okay? But yeah, check out the stream. So again, I go for an early Gabor. I even boost him up. Really, the only threat here would have been Ache. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded that too much. But we just get Moondusted. Purify does remove resilience, so that does work. But luckily, it's a lot less punishing than a Geralt or an Ache of the Nestle. Does he work for Nestle? Don't they do child labor? I don't know. Here's some beard action for you guys. By the way, completely forgot. I messed up during recording and there's no sound. But you have my commentary and I will of course add music, so it won't be that much different than usual. You know, the actual sound effects usually are very low volume, so you won't notice that much of a difference, hopefully. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. Now, here I pass because I think I have such a good pass, but of course, you know, he does get the free the free bottling point, so I lose uneven. I really messed that one up. That was a huge misplay. But I did deny him commandos, which might have been worth it in the end. I did play against a, you know, full test, full Blue Stripes commando kind of deck. I beat it, of course. But I think it was pretty close. He bled me pretty hard, and I didn't manage to punish the bleed, so, you know, good on him. He did end up spending 2 of his charges, his leader charges, on Revenants, and I don't think that's where Foltest wants to be. I think I played against 2 Foltests with this deck, so is Foltest a thing now? I hate playing against Foltest, so I hope not. But he is a cool leader, and you know, NR needs the love. You know, I myself, of course, have been playing a lot of Demivend. You Ranked up from 7 to 5 with Dem event. In total, I had a 56% win rate, which is definitely positive. That's how you win. But yeah, this boy, his Prophet Lebiota was just outside of Carlo range, but we're gonna set up a couple of these. Holding off on playing the second Justice. I don't remember why. Maybe I'm just holding off to see if... Honestly, I don't know. I do not know why I didn't play the second one. See, this is always interesting, right? I think I played these games on Saturday. And of course now it's Monday. I haven't looked over these clips a lot. I looked over them a little bit just to figure out which ones I wanted to use for the video. But you know, I didn't look through the entire ones. Then now I'm sitting here questioning. Okay, I haven't been paying attention, obviously. This is not round 3, this is round 2. My opponent is bleeding me after winning the first round, so I played Justice for the tempo. But of course, I would love to not have to play it again until the last round. There we go. That's the problem with these post-commentary videos. I really have to practice that. I'm not paying nearly enough attention to the actual gameplay. But I mean, that's kind of the point of these videos. You know, I do live commentary videos as well, and then you get more of the thought process, you know, the more in the moment thinking. Whereas in these videos, I just do more talking about the deck, my experiences with the deck. So it's kind of an entirely different beast altogether. And of course, you know, you do get to see some gameplay, and I do comment on it, you know, every now and then. Excuse me. I'm just trying to do, you know, a variety of content. Like we're trying to do a custom cards video, which is coming soon. I've been kind of holding off on it a little bit, just because I've been busy with the streams. They really take up most of my day, and of course today I'm doing this. But hopefully tomorrow, on Tuesday, I want to try, setting up the video, and then I'll record the commentary maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll see. So if you want to get a custom card in by the first video, but like we're gonna do plenty of these. Like as long as you guys keep submitting custom cards, and I'm gonna keep making custom cards, like it's gonna be a video series. But if you want to get your card into the first video, then like within like today, tomorrow, you gotta post it, or else it's probably gonna be too late. But of course, like I said, there will be more, and your card will be first in line for the second episode. So don't worry. But we managed to keep one Novigradian Justice. And I'm going to do like the Dennis Cranmer play that I talked about with the Defenders earlier. So I'm going to keep them boosted up, because they got picked off pretty easily last game. We don't want that to happen again. Of course, one of them is going to get Prince and Seized. That card is so sick in Meve, because you get the Zeal, and you get the Duel. I mean, it's a 10 provision card. And Northern Realms needs that stuff, so yeah. And when you have a card like Dwarven Mercenary, where you're gathering up charges, similar to Lyrian Arbalast, there's always a consideration to save the charges, because suddenly they play something you really need to kill, and it's nice to have at least like 3 or 4 charges gathered up so you can make that easier. But of course, at the same time, if you get greedy, you hoard up the charges, suddenly your thing gets locked, killed, and you lose a lot of points. In this particular matchup, I think at this point it would be safe to hoard some charges. But of course, last turn, I don't know why I said of course twice in a row, but last turn he played Lady of the Lake, which, you know, I could ping the shield off of and then banish. And here comes Windhelm. Of course, I could, you know, just ping off that shield. It would be fine, but I have Geralt of Rivia in my hand. I'm not sure I'm going to get a lot of value from that. But here's the guaranteed target. And the 5 points that he gained before I could interact with it will be added to Geralt's value, and he'll be an 8-point play in that sense. Of course, actually, you could think about it as a 9-point play at least, because I don't have to use a ping for 0 value to take off the shield. So, yeah, 9 points. Of course, in terms of the actual points on the board, he's going to represent a lot more than that. But a single ping would have rendered him pretty mute. You know, except for the aforementioned 9 points, which we will be getting in effective value. Now, I don't have the Markham Guard, so there's no need to row stack. And, you know, it's not like Meve has a lot of row stack punishment, but, you know, people randomly run Lacerate all the time. Northern Realms do have Sabrina, which is a really good card. Here comes Anna Stranger. I've been hoarding a few charges. We're going to be up to 3 charges once I play Barclayels, and yeah, we're going to ping that Anna Stranger pretty good. And it's going to render her useless for the remainder of the match, which is really good for ya boy. Here comes the Cintron Artificer. He's ready to shield up some stuff. But as you can see, we're pretty far ahead. Our opponent does the cool thing and plays out his last card just so we can see what it was. And it's a very respectable card. Respect to my opponent for playing this. It's your boy King Ragnar. But yeah, we take another win. And there you go. You saw that I ranked up, but the video just cut off right there. I don't know why. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed some Francesca Dwarfs gameplay. Of course, like I said, if you want to see more of this, there's going to be somewhere of it on today's stream. Do check that out any way you can. And yeah, have a good one, and I hope to see you again soon. I feel like there's something more I should be saying, but it's not coming to me, so let's just hope that I'm wrong. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.